Vasudevan ji to address the conference and set the tone for the event.
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Shazil. I wholeheartedly welcome all of you to this conference, Part 6, Technology Adoption in Education. Especially, we have a lineup of luminaries here today in the conference, and we are very happy. We welcome you all. It's a proud moment for Best Innovation University and World Forum for Education that Part 6 with such luminaries has been possible. Thank you all for joining us, sparing your time. I also welcome all our audience and the participants who are viewing us outside the event window in their live streams on YouTube and on Facebook. This is part 6 of the webinar, and I'm the host for today, Dr. Rupa Vasudevan, and I also happen to be the Chancellor of the Bharatiya Engineering, Science and Technology Innovation University. I'm also the Global Chair for World Forum for Education. Joined with me are Dr. Bharat Meena ji, who is a retired IAS and who is also the Chairman for Best Innovation University from Anantapur, Andhra Pradesh. We have also Dr. Manmohan Singh. Dr. Manmohan Singh ji is our Senior Advisor at the Best Innovation University, also retired IAS from Andhra Pradesh. Also joining me here is Dr. Ayla Al-Jofri. She is our ASEAN Country Chair for World Forum for Education, also the founder of WWLC, World Women Leading Change, which is primarily a congregation of about 3 million women from across the globe. Thank you very much. You've been our motivation. Without this team, without the support, it is not possible to have such wonderful events week on week, and with such luminaries with us as our speakers. Well, the theme for today is technology adoption in education. Technology adoption in online learning has not been an alien concept for institutions in India. We have earlier discussed, implemented flipped classrooms, we have blended learning mechanisms, we have digital learning pedagogies that have been quite famous in private institutions across the country. But having said that, a total technology-mediated intervention that the COVID-19 put us through rather quickly was very tough for any institution across the globe to understand, to implement, and the online classes, the online pedagogies, etc. was very tough initially to handle. Especially in our university, we had mostly rural students as we concentrate primarily on courses in agriculture, horticulture and forestry. And there we had issues with students not having network connectivity. So we faced all these challenges. I'm sure that all over the globe, each of the institution has seen these issues, and over 60 million students were stranded at the comforts of their home while they should be out there looking for competitive exams and trying to figure out their next steps in their higher education. This is the global figure of 60 million, and that too in the crucial months of February to August. Yes, it's been tough, but the silver lining in all this that I see is that, for example, in India, we have Google Classrooms that have been introduced centrally by the central government. We have MS Microsoft platforms that have been introduced for students. We have chat boxes, and for assessments, we have proctoring. Well, there are ifs and buts when it comes to course specific, and when it comes to some areas which cannot run completely online, where practicals are becoming very crucial. But what it also has involved is, and helped us through, is the multidisciplinary approach and the transdisciplinary approach that we always spoke about in institutions. I think that has now become a reality because of cohort engagements. The anytime, anywhere experience of music, drama, arts, value education, heritage, culture education has become a reality because of online education. But I do have issues in terms of the rural masses in India, especially. We are trying our best to put up digital infrastructure to cater to the rural masses. And we've also tried interventions with satellites and TV channels that could reach out to the students at the remotest corners for school education. All these things are in place in all the institutions now. We are almost 2.5 months into the lockdown. Now we are discussing. We are having different forums where we discussed about how do we cope up with the post lockdown. Now, post lockdown in an institution means social distancing. And when I say social distancing, how is it virtually possible to have social distancing in the canteens, in the hostel areas? We had a professor from Alabama discussing the same thing. He said the university or an institution does not have endless infrastructure. So how do we work with the staggered classroom concepts? How do we mobilize industry and field visits while we are still on into the post lockdown, and when we know that the students are not supposed to move out the way they used to? Yes, we have a lot of questions. And between part 1 to part 5, it has been an extremely enriching journey whereby we've had several speakers from across the globe and in India discussing about their best pedagogies, teaching concepts, exchange of ideas between how do we make these digital pedagogies successful even in the long run, because COVID is here to stay for the next 2 years. So yeah, we've had a very invigorating study as well as talk, exchange in part 1 to part 5. Part 6 is no less. We have luminaries as our speakers today, and we expect some insights also on how do we engage into self-discipline and positivity in putting all these in place as educationists, as academicians, and how do we handhold our children successfully through this pandemic. I thank all of you again, and I welcome you all for this session. We have our first speaker who may not be able to join us physically, but his presence in the form of bite, his video bite, will be with us in the next few moments. He is Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan. He headed ISRO. He's a complete spaceman, our space scientist of India, and he's a former chairman of ISRO. He's also now the chairman of the new education policy committee, which is a revolutionary education policy that is coming up after almost, I can say, 200 years of teaching the same syllabus to our students. We are finally going to see a huge revolution in our education systems. The committee has rightly identified the failing standards of education system as our schools, which have been teaching fossil data to our children. And yes, we look forward to this policy, which will engage our students and our academicians with new set of rules and absolute flexi options in the next few months. We look forward to that. We also have, he's a Padma Vibhushan, and we have also a Padma Shri with us today, who is Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, Director of NIMHANS in Bangalore. We have a Vice Chancellor, a very reputed one, who has dedicated his life to Sanskrit education, and today he is in the post of a Vice Chancellor of Kavi Kulguru Kalidas Sanskrit University from Ramtek, Dr. Srinivas Varkhadiji. We thank him to have joined us today. We have Dr. Mukund Kadu Srinivasa Raoji, who was the ex Knowledge Commission chairperson and now the chief executive of the NIAS Center for Spatial Analytics from the IISc. We welcome you. We have Dr. Venkateshwarlu from ICR, who I share a bond since many years, from the time I chose to educate students in agriculture in a private mode. And he's been a guide throughout. I thank him for having joined me today in the webinar. We have also Dr. D.L. Maheswar, who happens to be the Vice Chancellor of the Best Innovation University and ex-Vice Chancellor of University of Horticultural Sciences. We have Mr. Sudan Rajgopal, who is a business owner and a social media activist from Tamil Nadu. I welcome all our speakers today. I welcome the team of Best IU students and faculty today, and also all the participants from across the globe who've taken time off. I now ask our moderator, Shazil Ahmed, to take charge and take you through the second phase of the event. Thank Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rupa Vasudevan ji, for throwing light on the ethos that truly talks about what this conference stands for. Something more than just a webinar, right? A change which can help illuminate the world with the illuminary is the word which you used today, right? So let us hear from Dr. Kasturi Rangan ji. So I would be sharing the video bite from Dr. Kasturi Rangan ji. So just there is no need for introduction. However, I just want to highlight a few points. Dr. Kasturi Rangan ji is a recipient of 3 major civilian awards from Government of India, that is Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Vibhushan. He is a recipient of honorary doctorate from 16 universities worldwide. He has also served as a member of Defunct Planning Commission of India. He is also part of the new education policy. He has also served as a chairman of Karnataka Knowledge Commission. And most importantly, his contribution as chairman of ISRO from 1994 to 2003 have been an inspiration for all aspiring scientists worldwide. So let us hear from the great man himself.
I am delighted to be with all of you on the occasion of the meeting to discuss technology adoption.
Shazil, we don't see him.
Being organized by the BESTU Innovation University. I would like to congratulate Mr. Bharat Meena, a former
Shazil, we don't see him.
Been associated with Mr. Meena during the period when I was the chairman of the Karnataka Knowledge Commission, and he was the senior most secretary for the field of education in the government of Karnataka. I am aware of his very significant contributions in the context of
Shazil, can we see the video also?
Yes.
We are not able to view him, please.
Just a moment. Let me restart.
Okay.
Apologies for the inconvenience.
Technology, yes. It doesn't come easy.
He continues to take education. I'm delighted.
Can you see the video now? Could you please
Yes,
confirm?
and can you up the volume, please, if that's possible? Thank you, Shah.
Thank you.
Delighted to be with all of you on the occasion of the meeting to discuss technology adoption in education during COVID times, being organized by the BESTU Innovation University. I would like to congratulate Mr. Bharat Meena, former Singh and Dr. Rupa Vasudevan, Chancellor of the university, and their team for this laudable. I have closely been associated with Mr. during the period when I was the chairman of the Karnataka Knowledge Commission, and he was the senior most secretary for the field of education in the government of Karnataka. I am aware of his very significant contributions in the context of adopting various kinds of technology for student learning, teachers training, as well as most importantly, bringing in technology for administration and management of the university system of Karnataka. I'm happy to note he continues to take interest in promoting this key aspect of education through various fora. The COVID times has thrown up several challenges, particularly the need to have a sudden shift of emphasis towards online platforms. The key need of online education to replicate the traditional classroom experiences, learning experiences, without requiring students and teachers to be the same physical space. Primary role of technology in online education, not only to deliver content to students, but also to enable interaction, including a real-time mode between teachers and students. He emphasized that teachers play the role which are critical as in the traditional education, selecting appropriate material from high-quality sources, ensuring that students remain focused and inclusive as well as designing and evaluation of appropriate assessment besides assisting students who are disengaged. There are specific advantages in this and so also disadvantages. Mention a few. The advantages include flexibility in linking students and teachers, increasing the pupil-to-teacher ratio, while also managing classrooms more effectively, as well as the availability of high-quality content like Swayam Prabha, Diksha, etc., for innovative and collaborative ways of addressing challenges. On the other side, the disadvantages include the digital device addiction, challenges to conduct online examinations, and stage and limitations of online classroom. So the more important urgent steps needed in this connection include providing internet access and devices to educational institutions, teachers and students, training and support to teachers for preparing rich content and sharing them through content repositories, as well as making content available in regional languages. The process of content creation for online education cannot, because it needs to take into account things like attention span of students and incorporate interactive elements like animation, quizzes, and polls. These need to be learned by teachers over a period, given that we have more than 1 crore teachers in India. Of course, teachers can also be trained online for their purpose. Even as we talk about these immediate steps during COVID times, but we cannot miss the future where disruptions emerging through technology and content would be readily available, making way for new university systems that are ready for the Industry 4.0 revolution. It should be technology-enabled, flexible, modular, collaborative, cross-institutional, and cross-cultural, where learners can play the role as creators of knowledge. Very soon, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, cybernetics, and robotics will dominate education content and delivery. This is supposed to be more self-directed and self-paced learning, triggered by interest learning, where problem solving, innovation, and creativity drive education. The future universities will have to maximize the power of digital technology, books, animated laboratories, and personalized data from the interconnected world. The future education will be blended and technology enabled. Universities will have to adopt online learning components in every program. So the future of education has to be a blend of self-learning, co-learning, and learning by doing. Technology for education is a continuously changing and dynamic introduction to overall educational endeavor. One needs to have a means of identifying appropriate technology, its efficacy, and the ability to provide independent evidence-based advice to central and state government for its adoption. The other dimensions that need to be addressed include building intellectual and institutional capacity, envision strategic trust areas, and to articulate new directions for research and innovation. The new education policy recommends the establishment of a National Educational Technology Forum as a means of fulfilling these tasks. I would like to first of all thank the organizers and in particular Mr. Bharat Meena and his colleague Professor Vasudevan for organizing this very important meet. It is both timely and appropriate. You've also got some very good experienced educationists and other intellectuals who will participate in this discussion and make it enrich in regard to the kind of outcome that we are expecting out of this. I use this opportunity to wish the seminar the very best and would like to welcome all of you on this very important occasion.
We would like to extend our thanks to Dr. Kasturi Ranganji for such a wonderful message. Every line I cannot summarize as a moderator as to which point to take. Every point was very relevant, from adoption of technology to bilingual content, to actually, use of quality content and shifting. There is a sudden shift in adoption of technology in the education space. Some of the very important points highlighted by Dr. Kasturiranganji, and also he threw light on what is to be expected in the new education policy and the forums which have been which are upcoming now. So our next speaker, Dr. B.N. Gangadharji, he's having some technical difficulties in joining the conference. While we bring him online, I would like to move on to our next speaker, as Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kavi Kulaguru Kalidas Sanskrit University, Ramtek, Maharashtra, that is Dr. Srinivas Warkhedi. Dr. Srinivas Warkhedi, he is an Indian academic who was an honorary dean at Chinmaya Ishwar Gurukula for Sanskrit and Indic traditions. He is a scholar of Nyaya and other ancient Indian Shastras. He was one of the earliest traditional scholars who took up computer programming in the area of computational linguistics. He has been awarded the Maharishi Badriyan Vyas Samman by the President of India. And he is also the member of Committee for Vision and Roadmap for the Development of Sanskrit, Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Government of India. He has published in the area of computational linguistic, Sanskrit literature, and Darshana Shastras. I request Dr. Srinivas Warkhedi ji to address the conference.
Suprabhatam. Good morning, everyone. Friends, very empowered academic leader, Dr. Rupa Vasudevan, dynamic administrator, Dr. Bharat Meena ji, other respected resource persons, and my colleagues and participants. Thanks to Corona, this COVID-19 situation has pushed us to think in different way. New lifestyle with sanitization and masking the face, cleaning the hands, hygiene of environment, of course, touch-free work culture, and new vocabularies, and maintaining social distancing, better to call physical distancing, and all together a whole new work culture with less traveling, work from home, and whatnot. I think we have been started living in new world. Of course, we are pushed into homes, and we are in lockdown. But we started living new world, and whether we welcome it or not, it is given to us. We have to welcome it. We have to accept it. There is no other way. So with this situation, India having 40% of population of youth in schools and colleges, we have to find out new ways of learning, new ways of education, creating virtual campuses, sky classrooms. Somebody termed it as, TCS termed it as glassroom, new classrooms. Learn from home. And finally, a new e-learning teaching environment. We need to adopt it. There's no other way for us. So I congratulate Best Innovation University for organizing such webinar, which is the fastest growing institution with good number of students from different states. Of course, this is a challenge for you. Your students are coming from, as you said, rural areas. So it's a challenging job. Providing education in rural areas with poor connectivity is a challenging job. So World Forum for Education is timely taking this initiative, deliberations on new learning culture. Such dialogue I hope will create a positive environment among the stakeholders of education, students and parents and teachers. Last 2 months, I've been working with my own faculty members. It is very easy to adopt the technology, but it is not so easy to break the minds. Minds are so hard. We feel that minds are so soft. No, software is easy job. You can bring the software and you can install it in your hardware. And it's so hard. So you have to uninstall so many things. Then you have to adapt new software there. So e-learning software installment in the machine is not an issue. Installation of e-learning system in the minds is an issue. And I have some observations, even including myself, my feelings. Since the beginning of my profession, I am a computer savvy person. It is quite natural for me to vote for e-learning. So I always use my mobiles and my laptops and my other machines. They are synchronized and I share my data and I always work with the e-culture. Despite of it, when I had opportunity to teach online, I preferred direct classrooms where I feel comfortable. Many of my colleagues who enjoy the company of students in and out of classrooms and interact with them will agree with me. We learn so much. We don't feel to teach. We feel to learn. Many at times, student teaches so many things out of the classrooms. But as far as administration is concerned, I'm also administrator. Now I'm holding many meetings through Zoom, Google Meet, and WebEx. As far as administration is concerned, I like e-meetings the most. For simple reason, we can close the meetings without wasting much time, that you all might have observed. And no spending on travels, and no more unnecessary discussions, and no heated conversations. And as administrators, we find it very easy to handle people on Zoom. I can mute them whenever I want, and I can stop them. So this is just a joke apart. Fruitful meeting culture started, coming out. And though I am fond of traveling, I was fed up with traveling for regular meetings with just for a few minutes of meeting. Leave this on one side. We shall discuss about education system, because we have to see from different eyes. So administration is totally different, but education is totally different. I want to discuss a few things with you. To create e-learning, you need to give up certain practices. You need to unlearn many things to enter into e-learning. It is a learning-centric system. So earlier, we are so far. Actually, I was also part of NEP, National Education Policy. Some of the groups I worked with, Professor Kasturi Rangan and Professor M.K. Sridhar. And we had even discussed about bringing the Gurukula model in our modern systems. We wanted to create modern Gurukulas. So Gurukula for software writing, Gurukula for what you call now we have for music, Gurukulas for music, Gurukula for dance, Gurukula for Sanskrit learning. But we wanted to bring this Gurukulam for every field, even agriculture. Agriculture Gurukula should be initiated. But I don't know, this COVID situation has given us a challenge, new challenge. It is Learning-centric system, no teacher and no student. Teacher and students both disappear here. Entry of new tool will force the teachers to break their head, to which creates new knowledge. I think this is also another opportunity to create new knowledge. You may use the tools to engage the students in learning so that without your watch, students will learn. That's very interesting thing. So in classroom setup, the teacher always watch the students. So he will watch them even in the hostels. We are keeping an eye on them. They are they don't feel good. So when we don't watch them, they learn so much. So without your watch, students will learn, and you can see their learning process from distance. This newly defined social distancing in the classroom, this practice creates the teacher in classroom, learning quality index. That's my. At the same time, I would argue that it is not a total replacement of a teacher. No, it mutes the teacher and mutes the learner. That's very interesting part. We should understand that this new system mutes the teacher and unmutes the learner. This is very interesting plot. That's why I welcome the new e-learning platforms. This brings all together whole new environment for democratic access to the knowledge. Best teachers will be accessible to the students. It also promises total liberty for the learners to access the content. They can customize what to learn, how to learn, when to learn, and so on. In one sense, it is an impersonalized system, apaurushaya system. In our ancient terminology, we call it apaurushaya. Purusha is not involved here. The person is not involved here. Therefore, this avoids so many unnecessary complications of evaluation and assessment also. I think we have to adopt this system. There is no other way for us. Friends, technology readiness is seen across the world, but the receiver end readiness is yet to be created. Creativity is still an issue. Connectivity is another issue. Completely interactive sessions may not be possible in near future. Therefore, we should really, change ourselves. Bringing the changes in the classroom is not possible without bringing the changes within ourselves. Personally, in the current situation in India, we need to go for a blended learning system, which take best of both, connects the teachers and students with a whole new experience of learning. I just end my talk with a note. Last year, when we were planning for our new campus in Nagpur, when we got 50 acres of land in the nearby airport, so planning started. Then I was asking one question to my colleagues: why students will come to the university campus? We should deliberate. We should reflect on this. Why student would choose to come to the campus when everything they will get at their hands? Because when we are creating a campus for future, this campus should be interesting for the student even after 25 years. Who knows what will happen after 25 years? Information and knowledge will be available with Google Guru. And of course, new online universities will come forward to give certification. So what more is needed? Why should I come to the classroom? Why campus at all? So all these questions are arising. Therefore, we should think for something else which is not possible in e-environment. Can I create that? I term it as experiential learning. In our ancient Gurukula system, Guru never tried to impart the education. He was trying to create an experience in the student. I don't know the technology may come up with stimulated experience through the technologies, but that may be another challenge. But definitely, I would say we teachers and the university authorities should should reflect about experiential learning, which is possible only in the campus, then only beyond technologies. Of course, technologies are to be adopted. Through technology, we should start creating education, creating learning system, learning environment. Apart from that, we should also create an environment in the classroom or outside the classroom or in the campus that should lead in experiential learning. With this note, post-lockdown may be the beginning of DigiWorld and the learning through DigiWorld. Thank you very much, Bharat, Meena ji, Rupa ji. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you, and I'm hopeful to learn so much from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Srinivas Warkade ji. So you enlightened us about a lot of important points in the education ecosystem. You took us all the way to the Vedic age and brought us back to the technology space. So, you mentioned an important point that we have started living in a different world now. We have to accept it, and there is no choice. So the point about you can install e-learning software on a hardware easily, but it is difficult to install in the minds. I think all the technical minds here took that on a lighter note. Also, sir, you mentioned that the learners should get liberty to accept the content of their choice. And also, very importantly, you highlighted the need for better connectivity. So you mentioned that Guru was never trying to teach a lesson, but create experiential learning. So I'm very happy to say that at Best Innovation University, we have been pioneers in implementing experiential learning with a transdisciplinary approach, where cultural values and heritage, along with the technical education and science education, plays an important role. So thank you very much, sir, for your important comments. So on that note, we would like to move to our next speaker. We have Padma Shri Dr. Gangadhar B.N. Gangadhar ji, the director of NIMHANS Bangalore with us. He is the director of National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences NIMHANS, and also a recipient of Sir C.V. Raman Award from Karnataka government and Padma Shri Award from Government of India. He has many scientific publications, more than 400 indexed in national and international journals. He has 30 years of extensive experience in field of mental health from both clinical and academic perspective. He is also part of expert committee of DST and National Ayush Committee for Integrated Medicine. So he is also the co-editor of Asian Journal of Psychiatry from 2019, and also an active member of editorial boards of national and international journals. I request Dr. D.N. Gangadhar ji to address the conference. Sir, you need to unmute. Your phone is on mute, sir. You need to unmute in order. Thank you.
Apologies, I couldn't connect a little earlier. There was some technical snag as I had forgotten the Gmail password which I have to enter. I have not been using Gmail at all for a little more than a decade and a half. So that makes life different. Nonetheless, technology in education. Is that right? That's precisely what I need to speak. I have had a plan to make a presentation as follows. The COVID scenario in the pandemic has made us think of converting challenges into opportunities. This is precisely what the Honorable PM has been talking about. So in this context, we speeded up our earlier efforts on using technology in education. I just want to flag a development that has happened maybe a year and a half back wherein we launched what is called as the NIMHANS Digital Academy. NIMHANS Digital Academy was a brainchild of another e-learning process that was going on at NIMHANS in a smaller scale though. Since about 5 years, a colleague of mine has been talking about how to empower health professionals in mental health expertise, and he succeeded in using technology for doing this. This was in the background of another challenge, that is, we were impoverished with respect to mental health human resource. So, earlier itself, we converted a challenge into an opportunity of creating a digital education platform, which grew. And after that, Honorable the then Health Minister, Shri Jagat Prakash Nadda, decided that this should be launched as a formal academy. He inaugurated the NIMHANS Digital Academy, which has grown now to offer diploma courses. We are offering right now 5 diploma courses and some more are in the offering. Now, why did this start? Mental health in the country has been challenged with lack of health professionals. We have about 1.5 psychiatrists for a million population. The very recent figures say that it could be almost 2 psychiatrists for a million population. Although this is the number, it could be even smaller when you go to the peripheries because of concentration of health professionals of mental health nature in the cities. So how do we meet this challenge? Our logo was democratize mental health knowledge or deprofessionalize mental health service, so that people at the rural level, the medical doctors, health workers, psychologists, social workers who have not fully professionally trained should be able to address these challenges of healthcare, mental health care in the community. So we started giving this training to a lot of people. Over time, we thought we have to make it much more formal than what we have been doing, and we created the NIMHANS Digital Academy. The NIMHANS Digital Academy is now appended with what we call as a telemedicine service. Telemedicine service is another unique service at NIMHANS. And of course, telemedicine has been in existence for a long time. But it is this COVID season which made us realize this telemedicine has to be totally exploited. Telemedicine has now become the order of the day at NIMHANS. A lot of people who want to come to NIMHANS from far off places were actually having challenges to reach because of the lockdown, because of the lack of buses and the fear of getting infected and so on and so forth. So they decided to start seeking help on telemedicine, which was a network was available, a facility was available. It actually became very active during this period. Now, the NIMHANS Digital Academy and telemedicine are 2 faces of the same coin. In other words, it is something like a medical college and a hospital which is supporting the medical college. Bangalore Medical College and Victoria Hospital. The telemedicine services is something like Victoria Hospital, whereas the NIMHANS Digital Academy is like the Bangalore Medical College. We work hand in hand. Formal courses are launched. People are asked to log in for a short periods of time in a day. There are some very interesting anecdotes that we get. If a person has to enroll for diploma in community mental health for doctors, we had till now about 300 doctors trained and given the certificate. One of them said a very interesting thing. He said that I thought this course involved coming to a school, classroom, etc., etc. Now I did this class, attended all the classes live when I was traveling between my workplace and home, which is about almost 45 minutes of travel in the train. I finished all my training while I was on the train, and on the clinical examinations, clinical experience, I got it from the telemedicine, which of course the cases which I saw when I had a doubt, I presented to the telemedicine services. They actually did something like clinics that in our postgraduate, undergraduate days we do with senior consultants offering us to be trained. In the same way I got trained, now this person has actually been seeing psychiatric cases, and I believe in the process of making this tele-education possible, the Nimans Digital Academy having empowered a lot of people in places like Bihar, where it is even more serious. The numbers of medical people trained in mental health are so poor there. A lot of people are now seeing patients with the drug abuse, alcoholism, severe mental disorders, psychosis, and are able to handle these at their level in the primary health center and even in taluk level activities. So we believe that technology has to be optimally exploited for health, human resource development and healthcare as well. And today morning as well, we have had a series of courses that could probably be rolled out as part of the community mental health or the National Nimans Digital Academy part of it. More courses, more professions are likely to be rolled out over the course of time. So, as the Honorable PM said, the challenges to be converted to opportunities. COVID pandemic has given us an excellent opportunity to take Digital Academy much higher.
Thank you very much, Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, sir, for addressing the conference. So you highlighted some very important points which are the need of the hour now. So thank you very much for presenting the technology adoption efforts that have been prevalent prior to COVID times, and also how the pandemic has made us to think of converting challenges into opportunity.
Yes,
so it is great to learn that Nimans Digital Academy has exploited telemedicine service, which has become the order of the day. It is also inspiring to learn your personal experience of learning on the go while you were traveling, and your thought and your idea of enabling tele-education services across the regions where there is no connectivity. Thank you very much, Dr. B.N. Gangadhar ji, for addressing the conference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite our next speaker of the day. That is Mr. Dr. Mukund Kadur Srinivas Rao, the Chief Executive of NIAS Center for Spatial Analytics and Advanced GIS. Dr. Rao has served ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, for 24 years and involved in shaping the Indian remote sensing program, especially related to Earth observation and GIS application. He has 35 years of unique government, industry, and consulting experience in EO, GIS, and space research. He was a key person that worked in defining national policies on EO and GIS. Dr. Rao has been nominated by Karnataka government, and also served as a member secretary of Karnataka Knowledge Commission, that is Karnataka Jnana Ayuga. Dr. Rao was the first president of International Global Spatial Data Infrastructure Association. Dr. Rao has been honored with many awards and had almost 240 plus publications to his credit. I would request Dr. Rao to address the conference now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Rupa Vasudevan, the Chancellor of Best Innovation University, and Mr. Bharat Meena, the Chairman of Best Innovation University. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you and share some thoughts on the post-COVID education and the technology scenario. So what I want to do in the next 10 minutes is just share my views. I'm not an educationist, but I'm a technologist in that sense. So I have interacted with many experts and tried to assimilate the best of knowledge that I could. So I will just share my views on what I'm seeing in the world and what are sort of I feel would happen in the post-COVID world. So coming back to this particular point, somehow I'm not too comfortable to call it as a post-COVID world. The world is the same. The COVID pandemic has impacted many of us in almost all over the world. But I think life is going to go on, and it's going to go on for the better. That's the optimistic view that I have, because if you look in the past, many such pandemics and epidemics have happened, and for many thousands of years, and humans have braved it, and humans have staved it, and successfully moved on. And we have come to a stage where today we are talking what will happen in the post-COVID world. So to that extent, I only see this as a scenario of a larger ecosystem in our humanity that is happening, and we will deal with it in different ways. Yeah, but I think what has impacted all of us in a large way is a lockdown process that has been brought in. So the lockdown all across the world has certainly impacted humanity, and each one of us, our social concerns, our economic concerns, our technological concerns, and everything, it is impacted in a very big way. So I would call the lockdown the more larger culprit, and the poor coronavirus, I think, will pass off one of the days without any major difficulty in that sense. So I think we need to deal with the lockdown. Even as I say this about the lockdown, I see one very good thing that has happened. And had the digitalization process not happened in the last 50 years, just imagine what would be the state of the world today if we were not so digitally connected. We would not be able to talk to each other. We would not be able to transfer money. We would not be able to teach. We would not be able to learn. Nothing would have been possible. So to maybe in a positive way, one looks at it, for this pandemic to happen, the digitalization of the world was to happen 50 years back. And that has saved us today in a big, big way in this lockdown scenario that we have got. The very fact that we are able to do this webinar is a result of the digitalization that has happened, and technology having played a very important role, in spite of the fact that there was a pandemic and we're all in distant places, we're all working in different technologies and so on. So I think digitalization to me is going to be the continuing factor which is going to change the world from now onwards, the post-lockdown period of the way world is going to deal with it. Massive digitalization is going to happen, and if I see one area where digitalization is going to be in a massive way, it's education. Both school education, university education, and non-formal education. In all these three areas, I think the push to digitalization and the push to use of technology will be massive. So that's the first premise that I wanted to share as what I see on the whole thing. So digitalization in a way is really a savior for us, that it is still allowing us to function in a very sane manner and in a very, very positive manner for the future in the whole thing. And digitalization, I think, is going to continue to be the cornerstone of future development in education. So that's the way I look at it. The other thing that I've seen in the past few days of interacting with students and with interacting with many teachers and in my own activities is, I think there's a slow shift happening in society. The emphasis is going to be on learning now. So the emphasis being on learning, the emphasis from teaching may become lesser and lesser. So teaching as a main vehicle for education may have a lesser impact, but learning will become the most important element or a wheel for education to be taken up in the future. So everybody wants to learn now. So irrespective of whether a teacher is available, a school is available, a university is running, a college is running, students are trying to struggle to learn. They're making their own ways to learn. They may buy more books, they may get online, they may do digital interaction, they may do a WhatsApp discussion, they may do a webinar participation. So the urge to learn, I think I can see has come out into the open in a big way. And that's the very positive that I see as a result of this lockdown. Rather than the urge to teach, I think the urge to learn will drive it much more further. And once you have the urge to learn, you will find your teachers, you will find your books, you will find your materials, you will find all the avenues that are required for teaching for your own sense. So I think that is the second takeaway I would say, that there's a slow shift that's going to happen to learning. And learning will not have any divisions or silos. Everybody will learn. I also want to learn more and more. So I'm going to make the effort. A class 2 student is going to make an effort to learn more. A class 10 student will do it. A teacher will do it. A common man will do it. The urge to learn, I think, is going to drive education in a very, very different way. It is no more teaching. can you learn, and from where can you learn is going to be the key point that's going to be there in the future, I think, and that's what we're going to do. So all the norms of education may slightly undergo a change, which according to me is a very good thing to happen in that sense. And the other thing that I see is more than the outcome, the making of a good citizenry, making of a good citizen, a good human being is going to take a drive as part of the learning process. So why am I going to learn more and more? Because I want to be a better citizen. I want to be a better human being. I want to be an informed human being. I want to be a contributing human being. So to be an informed citizen and a human being is going to drive the learning, rather than saying, oh, I want to get 80% marks, or I want to get 90% marks, I want to do a MTech, or I want to do a BTech. I think that is going to go away slowly on the whole thing. So more of digitalization, more of learning, and more of improving yourself, the self-actualization process, education is going to drive. That's what I'm going to do. And in all of this, I see technology will play an immense role. And I think Best Innovation University has already adopted the technology and pretty well in the whole thing. Digital classes, artificial intelligence, virtual reality teaching methods, and creation of large amount of teaching material available online, so that students at any point of time can log in and do the course that they want, rather than saying that you come at 10 o'clock to the class and do this class, or 12 o'clock class and so on. It will all go away. So people will learn when they want. So somebody may learn at 12 o'clock in the night because he does not get sleep, so he's going to get on, learn some courses, and then go away. Somebody will do it at 8 o'clock in the night. Somebody will do it after doing a gym exercise and say, okay, now I want to go and learn. So learning at any time, as Dr. Rupa Vasudevan also mentioned, I think is going to be the key point of the whole thing. And massive amount of digital material will have to be generated, and they will get generated by the teachers and the knowledge people. They are going to make efforts to create their knowledge that they have, to share it and make it available online for anybody to access it. And the public good part of that digitalization process is going to drive education in a big way. Of course, technology education is going to continue in the whole thing. As I see it, space technology, computing, network, artificial intelligence, manufacturing technology, and very different types of education is going to come out into play. For example, food business. Food business is going to be one major thing. Look at the lockdown. In the lockdown, if anything sustained in the long run, it was a food business. Food business did not go out of any activity of human activity, even during the lockdown. Manufacturing could have gone down, metros could have stopped, but food business did not stop. So food business is going to be one major area where people are going to play. And of course, culture, arts, people are trying out different things. Music, as somebody said, I think that's going to be a major area. So education will mean anything that I can learn. Can I learn to make a better food? That is my learning. Can I make some more music? That is my learning. Can I write a better software? That is my learning. So learning itself is going to be wide. And there'll be no boundaries. You don't have to be a computer engineer to learn a cooking class. You don't have to be a musician to learn a computer code. So as long as you are able to learn, your capacity to learn is going to be maximized with the technology and the innovations that are going to come into the whole thing. And I think there'll be preference to distance learning. This is what I'm seeing also on the whole thing. So, and learn as you can, on the whole thing. So distance learning, new skill courses, executive education, learn as you can, get credits whenever possible. Even at 75 years, you may find people enroll for PhD and trying to take a PhD. At 60 years, people will register for a music course. So, that is the way the world is going. And I think in India also this is going to happen. Having said all of this, I still visualize that in India, there's going to be some challenges. So many of these things, because it is based on technology, the Matthew effect is going to come in. So the economic advantage accumulation that will happen will be to a certain level of people. The people who are deprived of those economic advantages may not be able to access many of these things. So that's where I think India will have to really play a social bridge to see how the technology divide should not become a deprivation to a larger set of people in our country. And that's going to be a challenge. Yeah, of course, it has been a challenge in the past also, but it's going to be much more challenging in the coming years. So how do we bridge this gap? And how do we sort of bridge this technology divide and social divide that can come up in India? Maybe in the Western world, it may not happen, but in India, it can certainly happen. And we are seeing this today. Many poor children are saying that they won't be able to go back to school because, they don't have the technology of, going on all this digital online Zoom classes and all. They can't do. They don't even have a laptop. So I think some of these aspects the government will have to bring in the right policies to see that the deprivation of technology should not impact the society in that way. And matching effect should not grow up into a larger scheme where 30% or 40% of the population are deprived of this particular advantage that can come in from learning and education. Social distancing, I'm worried, the way it has been brought out in this lockdown, I feel it's going to impact education in a different way. And I think that is where institutions like BESTIU University, etc., must really think on how to address this particular point. Because if you put too much focus on social distancing or physical distancing, as Mr. Srinivas earlier mentioned on the whole thing, I think it will have a lot of impact on laboratory work, on co-curriculum activities, on sports, on debating, on many other things which students need apart from formal education and learning processes. If these are going to get impacted by social distancing, I think it's going to be very, very detrimental. But hopefully, I think this social distancing boruba, in my mind, will go away in a few months or maybe in a year or so on the whole thing, and it will come back to normal, and education will really not get impacted in that way. One thing which I'm not able to visualize as I come to the end of what I want to say is, what will this mean to the evaluation system, examination system, and grading system? I don't know whether we are prepared in technology to address this in a wholesome manner. I think we're well prepared for class materials, teaching materials online, and so on, but I don't know whether we are geared up for bringing a universal, uniform grading and examination system whereby a student, whether he's graded in Karnataka or in Meghalaya or in Delhi or Kashmir, is on the same scale and can be sort of compared and evaluated in the whole thing. But this is one challenge. I think technologists have to work and educationists, we have to work together on this. And I think BEST University is at the best possible position to address many of these points. So I think in brief, this is what I wanted to share on my points on this thing. And once again, I compliment Dr. Rupa Vasudevan and Bharat Meena ji and Mr. Ahmed for bringing this webinar. It has been a pleasure, and I look forward to what the other panelists will say. But I think these will give some ideas for the future. Last point I just wanted to mention is, in NIAS, we did an experiment of what is this issue of learning and teaching and creating this. We created a digital multimedia training material for the field of space technology and GIS. We have done this already. It's available. I can send you the link. You people can access it. It is a teaching material, but we want to make it into a learning material. So we are in the process of converting it into a learning material where we want to put it in the public domain. Anybody wants to learn on space technology, remote sensing in these areas, go ahead and access it. It's like an open line, online course on the whole thing. So we feel that the trend is going to be towards that. And institutions will all work together creating this online content. And students will have choice of selecting what online content they want to access, and their knowledge is going to increase in the whole thing. So I just wanted to conclude on this point, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And this has been a great pleasure to be with all of you this Saturday morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rao, for addressing the conference. So very, very important points on how we deal with it, and and you started by saying the COVID is very poor, as in Corona is very poor. We will deal with it as how we have done it with all the other pandemics in the past. The positives of digital world on how we are able to connect from across the world and transfer money. So you'll be happy to know that we have participants from across the world watching the conference live across many platforms as we speak. Also, sir, your point on how there is a shift in society, which will be more on learning than teaching. The urge to learn will drive the education and motivate an individual to excel. And technology, as you said, will play a very important role. So you also emphasize on how learning is now enhanced beyond any limitations. And people can learn any topic like music, cooking, dancing, software, etc. with use of technology. So your inputs on enabling technology to all strata of students, all strata of society is very important. So you'll be very happy to learn that Best IU management has always emphasized that we provide the best of the education at the lowest fee structure in the industry. It also gives me, sir, we would like to accept with immense pride your appreciation for Best Innovation University in areas of technology adoption. Sir, we will continue to make you and India proud. Thank you, sir. On that note, I would like to invite our next speaker. This is Dr. G. Venkateshwarlu. He is Assistant Director General EQAR at ICAR, New Delhi. He is a Principal Scientist and Dean Academics, Central Institute of Fisheries Education. He was also professor at Dublin Institute of Technology, associated with European MSc program in Food Science, Technology and Nutrition under Erasmus Mundus program. He is also a visiting scholar at University of Massachusetts Amherst Development of Nanoscale Omega-3 Fatty Acid Delivery Systems. He is also a scholar of Danish Institute for Fisheries Research. I request Dr. Venkateshwarluji to address the conference.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for your nice words. Here is really a great pleasure and honor to share this virtual platform. Sharing this virtual platform from Padma Bhushan and also the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor and distinguished panelists and my dear friends. So this is really, excuse me. Yeah. I think we have really heard very interesting information from medical science and also technology perspective and also from Sanskrit University and all. So now I am from agriculture side. So as I must be thankful to my previous speaker who has highlighted the importance of the food. And we are from that field, we generate food for all. So the agriculture education, naturally it has its own importance in the domain of agriculture. So just I would like to share certain points. Before dwelling into the details of my points, I would like to say we have to accept this particular situation is completely a different one. In history, always we refer BC and AD. Before Christ and Anno Domini, BC and AD. Now, particularly in education, as we have heard from all our distinguished panelists, how the technology is changing the education. Now, we can say, with respect to education, we have BC and PD. So, BC and PC, before Corona or COVID and post-COVID. Certainly, we have to accept it. The reason, now in the lockdown situation and also in relaxation, there are several areas which were relaxed in the unlocked situation, but still our universities, our learning centers are under lockdown. Because our system is different where we gather in thousands and there will be a close interaction from one to one. So having this situation in our education system, definitely the impact on education, impact on teaching is really, really severe. So that's why we need to see this is a time which is the COVID time, and also we have to prepare for post-COVID time. Certainly, as our earlier speakers mentioned, the technology has come as a big way. It is really a blessing for all of us. Now, the corona is trying to disconnect all of us. But now the technology is trying to connect. The way corona is trying to disconnect more and more, the technology is connecting more and more closer. And today, sitting at different corners with panelists at different places, and participants completely across the globe. So that itself demonstrates the importance and the role of technology. So having realized this technology, now definitely we can prepare for new normal. Always nowadays we are hearing new normal. Yes, we changed our this one. We accepted new normal. Always now we say namaste. So no more shake hand, no more hugging. So now we are into new normal. Already we are into new normal. Even education, we are into new normal. Using this technology for teaching online classes and MOOCs, massive open online classes, they are really playing big role. So we are into this new normal and we are trying to utilize this technology. As really, this is a wonderful thing we have to see. The blessing has come in terms of in the name of fourth industrial revolution. Yes, people say the industrial revolution has been in 4 stages. First it started with the mechanization, then electrification, then automation. Now today we are in the digitalization of industrial revolution. So this is really digitalization has made changes including in education. Now, when digitalization, always experts say the information, the learning resources, the details are plenty. Plenty. It is very difficult to identify what is required to a particular purpose and what is really needed for a particular aspect. So now, having all this information, what I would like to mention with my colleagues and my students, now the most important is, yes, we know it is just away from simple click, just a simple touch. But how to touch, where to click, that's more important. Now we realize there is a lot of information. Even today, there are so many webinars are going across even within the country. So now having this explosion of information, having explosion of material, so most important thing, learn to click. So once we learn to click, then it becomes easy to click to learn. So I share, learn to click and click to learn. So that's more important in this technology-driven world. And also, this technology brought the best possible thing. Now, the best innovation university, which is having innovation in its name, definitely has initiated, is able to bring in the expertise available anywhere. So today, we can have a teacher from across the globe. So this is really bringing. So earlier, we started with classroom, and few decades back, we entered into virtual classroom. So having somewhere teacher standing and a live interaction virtually we used to have. Now, from virtual classroom, I think we are moving into virtual global university. So because one can learn, as is clearly mentioned, now teacher is muted and the learner is unmuted. Yes, learner can access any course, any particular course from any university. Now they are coming up. So here it has become almost like we are on the way to virtual global university. So the change is happening very fast, and absolutely we need to really take care of this one, and several positive ways in the technology driven learning, or we can say technology enabled learning. Now, very few weeks back, I got one simple link from one of my students that shows how we can utilize the technology to make a learning process very interesting. But always definitely a challenge when we have any learning resource, a learning material, a course, we have to see the learner has to understand and able to complete the entire material and understand the concept, everything. So to make that, it has to be in an interactive mode. Unless it makes interactive mode, so whatever learning resources we have, it is very difficult to reach our students, or unless it will be difficult to make them really effective learning. So what happens in a classroom, we all know the attention will be there, one-to-one interaction will be there. But once it is in the virtual mode, there is no close monitoring, it is definitely difficult. So, but the learner has to really take interest, proactive. At the same time, we also design the course in such a way. That means after every few minutes, the learner will be asked some questions automatically just to keep the track. After that, once he clicks, then he will be moving to next one. So unless we make the learner a part of this learning process or in interactive mode, then it will be difficult to really deliver effectively. So the learning, wonderful material, already it is in place. Now if you see the simple cell structure, then there are several YouTube available freely on the YouTube. One can really journey a virtual tour into the cell, even from one organelle to another, from nucleus, mitochondria, everything. So beautiful animation revealing the functions of each organelle, how they are living in the coordination. this absolutely, it is difficult to say in a physical mode. So in the virtual way, with the help of technology, with the help of animation, so we can bring a beautiful teaching. But having all these things, now our challenges are the most important challenge, digital equity. So that is, we have to ensure digital equity to all, the connectivity and the instrument to take advantage of the technology. So now I'm working with agricultural education, and most of our students, they come from rural background, so where the internet connectivity is not that desirable. So now the challenges, whatever I heard from different speakers, the challenges are there. The most important, I believe, the most important challenge is to ensure digital equity. So for that, not only the government, it has to create the ambience. At the same time, the local, the service providers. So we need to play in a coordinated way to ensure digital equity for all of us. The next most important thing is promoting digital upskilling. So now, yes, there are wonderful teachers. They are very good on the blackboard. Even some good teachers are sometimes reluctant to go to even PowerPoint more. But now they have to completely change the platform and give a virtual class. For that, we have to upgrade the skills. We have to design in such a way the whatever concepts, whatever the teacher wants to convey, it has to be conveyed in a proper way. So the upskilling of faculty, this has to be promoted by the agencies. And another important, nurturing learning process, nurturing virtual learning. So as I mentioned earlier, we have to make them partner or part of this learning process so that learning will be effective. And finally, I would like to mention, we have to ensure digital learning platforms. Yes, now this is a platform. Because of this platform, we are able to connect on the webinar. But for delivery, for curricular delivery, we have to have these digital platforms. So this has to be ensured because always there is a risk of hacking, always some cyber threats and all. So while developing these resources, we need to ensure digital learning platforms. So for that, as an ICR, we have already initiated the process to help and support various universities, various education universities to ensure certain things with respect to digital equity, with respect to capacity building of teachers. So already we have initiated programs how to design e-courses, how to really develop the e-resources material. So that's one. And having said all these things, and we already realized there is a definite challenge with respect to examination and evaluation. So naturally, we have developed some e-resources even before the COVID, and we have been. But with the COVID, the utility has become very, very fast and also very important. But now we never expected the situation for this type of for facing examination and evaluation. So now efforts are going on from technology front and also academic front, how best we can see evaluation. Now, our trend is not that semester end exam or year end exam. Now, while learning, there should be inbuilt assessment, inbuilt evaluation. So once they have, then automatically the evaluation. So now there should be a complete change to recognize how to evaluate, and also a particular student completes an online course, how to give a credit mobility. So how to give weightage to that particular credit. So now, being a apex body for all agricultural education, we have been working on that, and already we have introduced some credit mobility earlier. But during this COVID situation, now the requirement and expectations are very high. So we are planning to give a better or a high percentage of weightage to credit mobility by ensuring what type of courses are registered by our students and how they are being assessed and all. So definitely we have got opportunities we have got some blessings in terms of technology, and we are able to have a virtual connection. But also we have certain challenges and certain things. So that is our way forward. We need to go for that. We need to address, and definitely with the available resources, both in terms of technology and also financial. So we will be certainly addressing those challenges, and without compromising the quality, of education, we will be able to deliver and make the learning process very effective. So I think this is, I think more than what I shared, I definitely learned much from my other panelists. So I can say the university is doing well, and thanks to the university for giving me opportunity. But the most important immediate task for all of us, whether academic administrators or professors, the academic continuity. Because now the students, when the lockdown was declared, they simply rushed to different their own places. Now we need to ensure the academic continuity of those students who had left in the beginning of semester, some had left in between the semester. So first we need to take care of the students to complete their continuous program or current academic program, then plan accordingly for our future. So once again, thank you for Dr. Vasudevan and also Dr. Meena ji and every other panelist. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the important points. So you started by saying we generate food for all, and our point of view is very important. The education is going. I'm very sorry. There was slight disconnect, I think, from my side. So you started by saying we generate food for all, and our point of view is very important. Like you mentioned that how education was going very different before Corona, and it will be very different after Corona. The way, and you also mentioned a very important point, sir, the way Corona is disconnecting everyone, technology is actually coming forward and helping in connecting everyone. So your point on learn to click and click to learn can be a slogan for the digital learning world. So you emphasized on importance of MOOCs and how it's become a common thing now. And also you mentioned how virtual labs have been helping in explaining concepts to students more easily and compared to the physical labs. And so as an agriculturist always says that we should nurture a plant. But today you spoke about nurturing technology. I think that's a call which all the technology institutions and agriculture institutions will accept. So you will be very happy to learn that Best Innovation University has been in forefront of learning, adapting the virtual labs which have been enabled by the MHRD, right? And we are ensuring that this knowledge reaches other institutions as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Vipin, for addressing the conference.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I would like to invite our next speaker, that is Dr. D.L. Maheswar ji. He's a Vice Chancellor of Best Innovation University and former Vice Chancellor of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot. He was earlier a Director of Horticulture Department, Government of Karnataka. He has also served as Managing Director of Karnataka State Cooperative Horticulture Marketing Federation. He was a Joint Director of Department of Horticulture, Karnataka. He has also received a distinguished award, Sarvashresh Udyog Puraskar, by Business and Economic Society for Trade, New Delhi. And he has also received International Excellence Award conferred by Government of India in recognition of the outstanding contribution for horticulture promotion in Karnataka through HOPCOMs for productivity, quality, and innovativeness. He has written over 50 articles on various topics published across reputed journals. I request Dr. D.L. Maheswar ji to address the conference.
Thank you, Mr. Shazil. At the outset, I'm thankful to the authorities of the BESTIU University and the World Forum for Education for this opportunity. Well, I'm fortunate that since the webinar series have started, I'm with this. So I'm now attending the 6th webinar. So in this particular webinar series on the adoption of technology in education during the post-COVID time, so we could able to gather and listen and take the insights of experts, more than about 35 experts in the field of education, in the field of policymakers, then from the technocrats, and all others who are in the field of education. So they have contributed their insights, their ideas as to how over a period of time these technologies are going to support, promote, and further issues also. And now it's fortunate to note that this particular webinar series has been witnessed by over 15,000 viewers. And fortunately also, there is a documentation being published in the medias in over 300 numbers. So this particular exercise being initiated by the university with the participation of experts. I'm sure that this is going to help the system in developing a blueprint and an action plan in days to come, so that the technology could be an answer not only with the post-COVID or with these corona issues, even beyond that. So that's how I'm looking the developmental concepts of this particular webinar series, and let me also explore, say, as to what are the impressions of the erstwhile speakers, erstwhile insights and views. There is a lot of apprehension as now generated with the student community, with the institutions, with the educators, with the planners and parents too. So such being the case, it is the responsibility of the the society. Why? Because education is a basic human right. So how this basic human right is to be protected, to be acquired, to adopt, and to nurture is a responsibility. So in this context, so though there are challenges, there are several options. Technological support has been provided to manage, to maneuver, and to live with this education as a sustainable one. Okay, in case to talk about some facts, as you all aware, more than 72% of the students in the globe are being affected because of the closure of the colleges, closure of the institutions, low participation of the teachers, etc. So such being the case, now it is a challenge also to view as to how this has improvised, how this has impacted the online learning or digital learning. There are indications, there are facts saying that more than 85% of the energy consumption is being reduced. More than 70% of the carbon accumulation is being reduced. Besides that, the student learning absorption has also been enhanced. So these are the pros and cons of this particular technology approach. But nevertheless, now it's a time wherein the biggest challenge for all of us is to see that the traditional education system is now moving towards the technological based education system, wherein the practical courses and the training are to be focused. Wherein the traditional system, the way of approach, the way of conduct was of a different type. Now there is a turnaround change in the whole of dimension of the education system. So in this system, we have to really assess, analyze as to how this technology has impacted the students, impacted the system. The agriculture, the education system is now being shown a different dimension altogether. Well, the technology alone does not transform the learning. Technology alone cannot able to bring a change in the learning system. It only facilitates, it enables the transformative learning. So such being the case, it is the learners who have to adopt for their learning perspective, and there is also the message being indicated in the erstwhile speakers that there should be a plan for its affordability and accessibility. You see, in a country like India, where we have more than about 60 million students are going to be influenced or affected with this educational setback. Now this particular technological intervention should be cost effective, it should be culture driven, and it should also be of the institutional collaboration and institutional ecosystem also required to be supportive. So such being the case, even the academic ecosystem nowadays has taken a greater change, both at the institution level, even at the individual level. So now, what is now been experienced? As well, I was also with this agricultural university backup. Now with this, agricultural come other discipline support also with me as Vice Chancellor. What I observed is most of the institutions are not properly well prepared in advance to tackle this type of changed scenarios. Rather, they become reactive than becoming responsive. So now the situation calls for all of us to be more responsive, more adaptable, to ensure this technology ought to be focused towards the virtual learning. Hence, it is time for all of us to focus and to know the student requirement. The student requirement with respect to the learning, be it a theory, be it a practical. It is something like, it is now the time has come to focus on practical aspects of the theoretical knowledge. So this transformation has to happen with this, educational technologies. Well, I'm fortunate to also see in the last 1 decade time, how this technology was redundant and how this technology has become so absolute, so essential in a situation like this. In the best university, the best innovation university, I have been fortunate to be exposed to learn some new, applications for this adoption of technologies, for e-learning, both for the faculty and the students. The best IU University has developed its own software applications, both with LMS, UMS. They adopted Google Classrooms. They adopted Google Sheet for examinations. Few hundreds of hours have already been invested on the student preparation and bringing them to the track of examination, bringing them to the track of mock test. So likewise, all these things have contributed to see that the quality of the education is not going to be suffered. So in this connection, several private partners have joined hands with us to promote these technologies in a more appropriate way. Let me say, some of the lead partners, public sector partners, like EmFace, they have supported, assisted in formulating, firming some of the new models for effective teaching, effective examination, also evaluation, attendance part, feedback to parents, timely feedback to students. So all things have happened, which I'm very proud to share in this particular, which ought to have been taken care in some of the established universities, established institutions, which is now the time has come for all of them to look at this type of performance, look at this type of progress, and to adopt into this.
Thank you, sir.
And now it's a responsibility of the institutions that not merely to conduct few technology adaptive classes or some programs. It is the responsibility for all of us to develop the people for next generation with the required education and skills. So in this context, these things are the education part, the online things are not just temporary, they are not just compensatory, they are going to be with us henceforth totally and for a long run. So in that perspective, we have to observe, we have to adopt, and we have to implement. This is where the the situation calls for.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. D.L. Maheswar, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I have the last thing to say that in a agricultural based activities as indicated by Dr. Venkateshwarlu and Dr. Srinivaslu. Now we need to also bring in the Agri Gurukula system and also to ensure that the application should be towards the practical oriented, which can happen through virtual classrooms, which can happen through virtual models, and all the optimistic views provided by the well speakers and in the past series. I'm sure that the learning can never be stopped, and the quality of the learning can be improvised, and the leadership being provided in some of the universities, in the institutions. I'm sure that the leadership mindset is going to bring in a lot of change, and also the faculty involvement, the personality development towards this digital awareness, digital intelligence, digital commitments, and digital friendliness of adoption certainly is going to a way forward thinking. The wave has changed, is initiated. Let this wave be continued over a period of time, and the education quality be it is going to be very imperatively being focused towards the quality, and the digital pedagogy has to be now reformed, and over a period of time, I'm sure that the qualitative structuring with the guidelines being formulated at the Government of India, and with the adoption of technology from ICR, and knowing the best practices being done elsewhere, I'm sure that there will be a conglomeration of the a situation where the digital technologies, the technology adoption in the education sector is going to be prospective and will have a bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. D.L. Maheswar, sir. So very quickly, I would like to mention, you emphasize on how the learning of the student has been enhanced with the digital world. I think you have been personally monitoring that. I think there's no better person to share that experience. And also you mentioned that you would use the technology to prepare the students for future rather than just as a temporary basis. So that's an important take for all the technology leaders. So on that note, I would like to invite Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, retired IAS officer and Special Chief Secretary to the Andhra government, to present his concluding remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are really very lucky today to have luminaries like Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Kasturi Ranganji, Dr. B.N. Gangadharji, Padma Shri, and other eminent speakers, Dr. Srinivas Verakhadi, Vice Chancellor of Sanskrit University, Ramtek, Dr. Mukund Kodur Srinivas ji, Secretary of Karnataka Knowledge Commission, Dr. Venkateshwar Luji, ADG ICR, and Dr. D.L. Maheswar, Vice Chancellor of BEST Innovation University, Anantapur. It was really very exciting experience for all of us, extremely enriching. All the speakers, they have given their perspective, and in nutshell, I can say that all of them have emphasized the use of technology in this period of crisis, so that we convert this crisis situation into opportunity and deal with the new normal situation. Dr. Kasturi Rangan, in his video message, he explained very nicely the advantage of technology in providing quality education online and assessing the students. And he has said that this technology is now helping us to have new university system. So with his so many years of experience, he has really given very good suggestions, and we are really blessed by his presence, though through video, and we have noted all the suggestions he has given, which will be very helpful in further working with other collaborators to evolve better system in future. we are also very, very lucky that Dr. B.N. Gangadharji, Director NIMHANS, he has given how NIMHANS has used technology very successfully, digital technology I should say, and they have launched 5 diploma programs for the professionals in mental health, so that the severe scarcity, severe shortage of mental health professional can be met by online teaching, and in a country where very, very few mental health professionals are available, the people can be served better. So he has given some example of how this technology has made possible when people are traveling and they are learning together. So this is how technology can be of our great advantage in making things happen. Dr. Mukund Kodur Srinivasji, he has said that lockdown is a real culprit. However, the positive note of it is it has helped hastening the digitalization process in the country, which otherwise would not have happened. And this is one of the most important milestone in the history of mankind. And future will always take advantage of digitalization in every sphere of life. So now he has said that the most important change this digitalization has brought is the urge to learn by the students, by the people. And it has totally destroyed the boundaries and help people in interdisciplinary learning, which is very, very important observation he has made. He also highlighted the problem of digital divide and also problems that we are facing in examination system. So these are very, very important observation, and we will definitely proceed further how to deal with these problems. Dr. Venkateshwarlu, ADG, ICR, he has given perspective from agriculture science side, and he has given the slogan of learn to click to learn. So what to click? That's one must know what to click, and then the next step comes to click to learn. That's really very good slogan you have given, Dr. Venkateshwarlu. And you have also said that virtual classroom is leading to virtual global university. That's also happening, and really it's a very, very important phenomenon that is happening all over. So digital learning platform is very important, you have said, and how ICR is helping the agriculture universities in making this platform is also a very good suggestion you have given. Maybe this best innovation university would also like to collaborate and go ahead for giving very good digital learning platform. Dr. D.L. Maheswar, Vice Chancellor of West Innovation University, is already involved in this university, how the technology is being adopted, how we are using technology in the classroom education through online method, how we are taking attendance, as well as how we have conducted very successfully examination also through online system. He has given very good experience, and also he has said that there is a scope for further improvement in this. I forgot about Dr. Srinivas, Vice Chancellor. He said about Gurukulam, and that's very important observation. Gurukulam system has been there in India since Vedic time, and still it's relevant, it's very important, and he is propagating this Gurukulam system in the new education policy also. It's a very good thing, and it's important for experiential learning. So he has recommended blend of both the system, online as well as campus learning. So these are very, very good suggestions given by honorable speakers today, very eminent speakers. We are really very, very happy. So we thank all the respected speakers that they have taken time out and attended our webinar today and given good suggestions. We'll note down, circulate these recommendations to the even Government of India, Education Department, and use it wherever there is opportunity to influence policy making. So at the end, I would like to thank all the speakers as well as the chairman of West Innovation University, Dr. Bharat Meena ji, the Chancellor, Dr. Rupa Vasudevan ji, Dr. Aila also from WWLC is in attendance. I would like to thank all the faculty members who are attending this webinar, all the participants, as well as all the students. So thank you once again for joining for this webinar, and we conclude with thanking one and all for making this a big success. Thank you all.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaskar. I request everybody, we will have the next edition of the webinar on 13th of June 2020. Till then, namaskara.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.